Well, hello everyone.
Hello from Kansas City, Missouri.
That was scripted.
No, it wasn't.
No, we are here in Kansas City, Missouri, because this is where Walt had his first company, Laugh-O-Grams, and
100 years ago.
100 years ago. So it's going to be really exciting. We're going to go to his first house. Well, not his first house. We've already seen that in Marceline, but the house where he lived at in Kansas City, the Laugh-O-Gram Studios, which is now being turned into a museum, and a couple other places in Kansas City where he started Walt Disney Company. Isn't that kind of cool?
But if you're new, hello, hi, and welcome. That is scripted.
What is an intro without saying that, you know?
Well, that's our thing now. I made it our thing without realizing it was our thing.
You know, we meet a lot of people like, what is your guys' catchphrases? I'm like, we don't really have them.
Yeah,
we have a couple. Because we're really excited to bring this to you guys. We don't know what to expect. We've been to Laugh-O-Gram Studios. We took a couple pictures, but that was in the middle of the night in kind of a sketch area. So we're just going to keep going. We're going to do a lot of fun stuff. We really hope you come with us and enjoy the video.
Let's go.
So before the family moved down to Kansas City, Missouri, where we just introduced our video to you guys, the family was up here in Marceline. So in December 5th, 1901, Walt Disney was born in Chicago. You know that? You know that because you worked at Disney. So the family moved down from Chicago down to the small little farmhouse in Marceline when Walt was only 5 years old. Elias's dad purchased this house from a Civil War veteran named William Crane. Now, we shot a video down here before, and we went to the hometown museum, which is really cool. And we only were able to drive by this house. Down the street, down here, you might be able to see the parking lot. That's where the family's dream tree was at.
And the other little place where they just spend time and play.
Yeah. Wanted to make sure we shot this so you guys can have a look at the house up and close and personal. Now what?
People live here still.
Yeah. So there's a lady and a couple that actually live here. Every once in a while, so if you notice, we are on the sidewalk. They don't allow anyone to go inside the house or anything like that, but they've added on a little bit. But what's really cool is, so I think this is new.
I found it.
Amber found a QR code.
Pause the screen and definitely check this out.
Yeah, so it actually details a lot of the stories about Walt and the history and everything else.
Here, this is what it has.
And this is what it shows.
It's downtownmarceline.org. It was just up there. Disney Farmhouse. Oh, look.
And you can actually listen to it.
Walt Disney once recalled, "I went with my family to live in Marceline when I was nearly 5 years old. I clearly remember the day we arrived there on the train. A Mr. Kaufman met us in his wagon and we rode out to our house in the country, just outside the city limits. I believe it was called the Crane Farm. It was indeed the Crane Farm. William E. Crane moved from New York to Marceline the year before Marceline was founded."
We don't want to take away their copyright, but go to this website. They have a lot of different things and information. So we don't have time to go through everything.
Disney Barns.
Oh, cool.
So the barn's back there. Oh, to commemorate the 100th anniversary of Walt Disney's birth, the city of Marceline planned to host a 3-day celebration for September 21st, 22nd, and 23rd of 2021.
Oh, we had just missed it.
We did.
Boo. So, but this is his house. He lived there for 4 years before moving down to Kansas City, where the family will live, and that's where we're going to cut our video to.
Look at that. It's so pretty back there.
Yeah. And we could go down there because we did sign our names on the barn.
Yeah, 2 places by accident.
Yeah, because I didn't know you were signing.
Do you think we can go to the road right here?
Yeah.
And get the front?
So this is the front of the house. They did add on. So this part was the original. and then over here was added on later. But that's really cool. And directly right behind it, if you were to go diagonal that way, that's where the barn is. So it's the year 1910. The family had just moved down from Marceline down here to Kansas City. And this is where Walt and his family, Elias Disney and everything else, would live. They stayed here until 1917 until they moved back to Chicago. Walt would leave to go to high school and everything else. So now, if you know, remember the stories from oh, what's that movie? I can't think of the movie. The movie with Tom Hanks. Oh, Sid Mr. Banks. So he's talking about how they used to have a paper route that they would deliver twice a day, and they would do it right from this house. So it is a small little neighborhood, almost downtown. You see a house, and up there, I don't know if you can see it very well, but they have like Mickey and all that kind of stuff. And then on the fountain, they also have a Mickey. It'd be kind of cool to see if they make this into a historical home or anything, but it looks pretty nice. Small little house for a family of what, 5? Alright, so this is where young Mr. Walt Disney would go to school. And it's only like, it's like 6/10 of a mile away from the house, so it wasn't that far of a walk. I mean, you literally would come out here by this church, go down 1 block, take a right, and the house is right there. Or, sorry for the turnaround, or come down this main drag, 2 blocks, come up, and the school is here. So he would come to school here, and then leave and go back and do the newspapers and all that kind of stuff. But this is part of the formidable years of Walt Disney. It's really cool. Of course, now I'm sure back then they didn't have this gated, but everything's gated now. And then there's a senior home right next to it. I would just love to go inside just to see if they have anything regarding Walt or anything. Kind of like what they do at Tupelo with the elementary school and stuff like that. But not too far away from his house. So now we're going to head over to the Kansas City Art Institute, and there's a cool little story about Walt Disney and his mom and this school that he went to. So it'd be kind of cool. So this is his school. Really cool. You know, I don't see anything that talks about Walt being here, but
Wait,
but my thing is, like, if I knew someone famous was in my area and I owned it, I would probably want to do stuff with it. Look at that. The architecture is really cool. The stonework and everything else. There's this building and property, the gift of Howard Vanderslice. That's really cool.
This is the Vanderslice Hall. So that's where they have all that.
The door will be locked during the summer. Maybe he touched that same doorknob. I don't know. I'm gonna apologize for the glare, but look at this. Wow.
That's really cool, the architecture.
I know, and it even has like, I mean, it's more modern now, but those chairs look like way back when too. Wow.
Like, look at like just those work.
I know. Amber, Walt got his start here. Isn't that cool?
What, a little over 100 years ago?
Yeah.
Or less than?
No, 108. Yeah.
This building is pretty old.
Yeah.
Look at that. This is so pretty.
I know.
Because we're at 16 of Vanderslice Hall.
Yeah.
It's right in the middle of it.
You don't realize how big this campus is. Yeah, but you don't know what was built recently.
So this is where we're at right here.
We're in number 16, which is the main building.
I wonder, are those names? No, they're not. That'd be cool.
Yeah.
Oh, look at it.
Oh, they have stained glass. You know, I figured Amber would be more excited about his home than the Institute, but she's like, woo, look at this. It's cool. I like it. I like it a lot. This is a view from the other side. It looks really cool. I mean, I don't see anything that they indicate that Walt was here or anything, but this looks cool. Amber's like, come over here. What is that? Whoa, look at that. Oh, the glare. Sorry guys, sorry. Look at that. That's really neat. Is that a statue of Walt?
That does not look like Walt at all.
No.
Uncle Walt.
Yeah, no I don't.
You're a man who's famous for many things, not the least is building a better mouse. And the world has been beaten past your door for 35 years. I'm dating the beginning of that path, of course, from 1928 and the release of Steamboat Willie, the picture that introduced sound to the cartoon and Mickey Mouse to the world. Was it actually the first cartoon in which Mickey appeared?
Yes, in which Mickey appeared, yes. But I was making cartoons long before that. In fact, I think I've been in this business about as long as anybody living today. I started actually in the to make my first animated cartoons 1920. Of course, they're very crude things then, and I used sort of little puppet things. We didn't draw them like we do today. I used to make little cutout things, and joints were pinned, and we'd put them under the camera, and we'd maneuver them and make them do things. And
this was before you came to Hollywood, actually.
Oh, yes, this started back in Kansas City, Missouri, where I was working in we made the little advertisements for theaters. It's equivalent to what you see in TV commercials today, you know? Put your winter coal in early, you know? Get your fedora block for the winter and all those kinds of things. Get your, this was back in the days when they had the old canvas tops on cars. Get your top renewed. I used
That's still necessary, of course.
Yeah. And there was one little thing I did there was you had to think up little gags, little catch things, you know. So I had this spanking, shining car drive in. I had a character on the street. He hailed the driver and he says, "Hi, old top, new car." And the guy in the car says, "No, old car, new top." Then we go into the pitch of where to get them renewed and all that stuff.
So in 1920, Walt began the animated film business with his old mentor, iWorks, which a lot of people know that name quite prevalently. The two produced an animated cartoons called Laugh-O-Grams for the Newman Theater. This is a pretty busy street, guys. Sorry about this. Anyway, so it's off of 1127 East 31st Street. Now, throughout our research, we found that Walt gave up his apartment and moved into the Laugh-O-Gram. So he actually lived here to lower his expenses. Now, a lot of people don't realize that Laugh-O-Gram actually went bankrupt. Anyone seen the movie Walt Before Mickey? This was a great movie and worth to watch. I don't even know who was like the main producer of it, because I don't even think it was like sponsored or produced by Disney, but it's such a great movie. The guy who played Walt was one of the guys from American Pie. I can't remember his name. So there's a couple scenes in that movie with a mouse jumping out of the desk, and this is a throwback to the report that a small mouse lived in one of Disney's desk drawers at the studio. Supposedly this is the same mouse that influenced Mickey, which is kind of neat, right? So in 1923, Laugh-O-Grams went bankrupt. Disney would later move to LA and to be with his brother. Before the company went bankrupt, Walt worked on a film called Alice's Cartoonland. He recruited a little 4-year-old Virginia Davis, whom he had met while working for A.V. Cauger, C-A-U-G-E-R. I think that's how you pronounce the last name. Virginia had appeared in an advertisement produced by Cauger's company, and Walt thought that she made a good candidate to portray the little character of Alice in his Alice comedies. Walt's concept for these cartoons was that they would involve a little girl who would, through a variety of circumstances, go to cartoon land and would interact as a live-action character. Walt saved all the money he could put together to buy a first-class ticket to Los Angeles, and he left Kansas City in the summer of 1923. That's where our story of Walt Disney Company starts, because that's where we celebrate 100 years. But a lot of people don't realize that his ambition, what he wanted to do, and his vision started here. And that's where he kind of got the love and all that kind of stuff. And he was surrounded himself with great animators. So right now, if you go to thankyouwaltdisney.com, they're raising money to turn this building into like a art institute, a museum type thing, to pay homage to the Laugh-O-Gram and the history of Walt Disney in Kansas City. So now we're gonna go to our next location. We're really excited. I mean, guys, this is like one of a kind. When is the next time you're gonna be in Kansas City and be able to see things of Walt Disney? Alright, so this is the Kansas City Film Ad Service. This is where Walt and iWorks and all them for Laugh-O-Gram Studios were creating film ads for the theater that's down the street, and they would come here, and that's who they were working for. That's who they would get their money from. It is no longer here. It is now a parking lot. That kind of stinks. I told Amber on our way over here, I was like, it would be so cool to go back in time to see what this place, all these places would have been like. But anyway.
But now it's what? University of Missouri, Kansas City, School of Medicine.
So this is our last location. Unfortunately, Newman Theater was torn down to make way for another building. But this here, 1015 Central in downtown Kansas City, was built in 1908 and was expanded in 1925. But in 1920, Walt Disney was introduced, and this whole big old sign, to the basics of motion picture production and animation while working for the Kansas City Slide Company. It was that company, Laugh-O-Grams, where we just came from, that he came here and learned a lot of the basics, that everything. And then right down the street, about 2 blocks down this way, almost identical, like if you just, as a crow flies, would have been the Newman Theater, where they would show the films and everything. But this is it. Amber, isn't it cool? And right across the street is Kansas City PD.
Might light up.
Oh yeah, they have like lights up there too. That's really cool.
Well, it came about when my daughters were very young, and Saturday was always Daddy's Day with the 2 daughters. So we'd start out and try to go someplace with, different things, and I take them to the merry-go-round, and I took them different places, and as I'd sit there while they rode the merry-go-round, did all these things, sit on a bench, eating peanuts, I felt that there should be something built, some kind of an amusement enterprise built, where that the parents and the children could have fun together. So that's how Disneyland started. Well, it took many years. It was a period of maybe 15 years developing I started with many ideas, threw them away, started all over again, and eventually it evolved into what you see today as Disneyland. But it all started from a daddy with 2 daughters wondering where he could take them, where he could have a little fun with them, too.
We've all heard the story. Walt was with his daughters at Griffith Park, where we're at right now. And he was sitting there watching his daughters on the merry-go-round, and he goes, you know what? There should be a place where kids and parents could come and have fun. Remember that interview? I remember it.
Our whole family could go and spend time together. There's pictures over there. Let's get closer.
And this is it. This is the merry-go-round. When we were at the museum in San Francisco, you were able to sit on one of the original benches that was here. Maybe not that specific bench, but it was a bench nonetheless. That's really cool. Of course it's closed because it's, I'm assuming because it's Sunday. There's another picture. Too bad you can't go to. Now, during the week or whenever it's open, you can actually ride it, and I think it's like pretty inexpensive. I want to say we went to a museum. I want to say that had one of the original horses in it. I'm not sure. I know. I can't either. There's another picture. Too bad you can't go to. Now, during the week or whenever it's open, you can actually ride it, and I think it's like pretty inexpensive. I want to say we went to a museum. I want to say that had one of the original horses in it. I'm not sure. I know.
What does it say?
So we have to do it off the phone because we don't have a zoom on this, the stagnant lens. But that's Diane and Sharon Disney on a bench, and that was them when they wrote it. Oh, that's so cool. That was really neat.
That's cool hearing that music too.
Oh yeah.
So this is really cool because you can see a whole bunch of people just hanging out here. Like there's like a baby shower, they're having like a barbecue. So it's cool that like people are out and enjoying themselves.